most admirable chasers you could possibly wish to see.
Welcome to the Race Hour podcast in association with Bet365, the home of the position payout. I'm Rory Jiwani, and thanks for joining us for our second weekend preview podcast of the new jump season. It's all about Cheltenham's November meeting today. We'll be looking at 4 races on Saturday plus Sunday's Greatwood hurdle. Delighted to be joined by 3 of the shrewdest minds in the business who'll be marking your card. Racing broadcaster Ed Quigley, the Housewives' favourite and Gambling.com tipster Gary Connolly, and Pat Cooney of Bet365. Welcome to you all. Before we get stuck into the action, let's have a run through of the position payout. This is Bet365's alternative to each way betting, and I'll hand over to Pat for a quick explanation. Pat.
Yeah, this is a market that we have. It's probably better value than one each way. If you fancy a horse and you think he's bound to be in the first 3, for example, you'll get a shortened odd for the price for the win odds, but you get advantageous money if it was second and so forth for third. So just think of that golfer that you back every week and you think, well, he never wins, but he's always in the top 10. He's that sign of a kind of a bet. So, the higher up he finishes, the better the reward will be. It's proven to be popular, both with the general public and the shrewdies, which is always a bit of a concern. So if the shrewdies have landed on it as well, it's well worth having a look at. But they're all on site. We're all up for Saturday with all the offers as well. So just go in and click into each race. But as I say, the shrewdies like it as well. So there's good value around.
There certainly is. And so when we get more places on the each way, you get that reflected in the position payout. Now, we're recording this on Thursday afternoon, and as some of you will know, there's very heavy rain forecast from tonight for about 24 hours or so at Cheltenham. The ground's currently good to soft, but it will certainly be soft by Friday and even more testing by Saturday. Ed, do you see these fields cutting up with the forecast rain, and should that affect how we look at these races?
Well, in answer to your second part of the question, Rory, it definitely affects how we look at them. Say horses declared on good to soft. I'm a mile from the track. It's rained heavily last couple of days. Dry on Thursday at the time of recording, but anywhere up to 55 millimetres of rain forecast from Thursday night through Friday, etc., etc. So it's got to be a worry. If we get the upper end of that, you're looking at proper softer, heavy ground, probably best case scenario. So naturally they're going to be horses who come out of these contests. So it does kind of muddy the waters, no kind of pun intended here, looking further forward. But I don't know, trying to sound like I know it all. The weather's been there for everyone to see for the last week or so. So I have pretty much based my form study over the last few days on the assumption of, at quickest, it's genuine soft ground. So, I think a lot of trainers have been aware this rain has been coming, and I'll probably be willing to take their chances in what are some good prize money, some good pots.
Yeah, as a French racing expert, Gary, you won't be averse to tipping the odd mudlark or two. How testing do you reckon it's going to be?
Yeah, I reckon it'll get seriously tough going now towards the end of the card, especially on the Sunday. But they always make for great view. I love seeing big slogs in the mud now, to be honest. So bring it on this weekend for me. The more rain, the better.
Absolutely. Well, first up is the Arkle trial at 1:45 p.m. on Saturday. 6 runners with champion hurdle runner-up Burdett Road making his debut over fences. It's a Grade 2 novice chase over 2 miles, and the betting is headed by Henry de Bromhead's mare, July Flower. She gets £7 from most of her rivals, and she's even money. Dan Skelton won this race last year with L'Eau de Sud, and his Be Aware is next best at 11-4. Burdett Road, who also won the Greatwood Hurdle 12 months ago, he's 6-1. The 4-year-old Stencil in the colours of JP McManus, 9-1. It's 12-1 bar. Ed, let's start with you here. What have you made of this race?
I wanted to put my long shot goggles on. I think the mare, the favourite, is proper good. Fair play. I think even money's. I think she could go off a little bit shorter. Fascinating listening to Henry de Bromhead's words, saying he thinks she's a mare in which he's got a triple wrong. She obviously had form over 3 miles in France, going back a little while ago. They were kind of thinking she was a stayer, shall we say, last season. They had a chat in the off-season, and Henry, always the gentleman, happy to put his hand up and say, look, I think might have made a Horlicks of this. And she ran over that extended 2-3 on Chase debut, and she used class the way she jumped there. Look, okay, the raw form, etc., etc., etc. But she was very slick. She was asked for a couple of big leaps down the back, and she took lengths out of her opposition. She looks a natural, but the salient point is the drop back in trip. She's back to 2 miles here. They're going to find out. This is like the acid test. Harry de Bromhead was thinking, I thought she was perhaps going to be a 3-miler. She's back to 2, and by the time the race comes around, could be proper heavy ground. I think that could be tailor-made for a 2 miles round here on heavy. On hurdles rating, she's right up there with them on what they could achieve at peak last season. And I think it's a big ask for the likes of Burdett Road and Brentford Hope, etc. First time out over fences to come round here on testing ground and get the job done. I just really like the way she attacked her obstacles, Rory. I think 2 miles on soft ground, absolutely perfect for her. I'm not normally one to go overboard about an even money favourite, but I think looking further afield, I think she could really lay down a marker and put a hat in the ring for the Arkle itself. Henry de Bromhead's got a wonderful record with 2 milers, especially with the mares as well, hasn't he? Special Tiara, put the kettle on as well. There's a kind of, we've seen this rodeo before, and I think she could just be a cut above. So even money shot, but when I did the tissue for this, I had a little bit shorter. I think Be Aware's not perhaps a horse to trust implicitly, for that he could take his form to higher levels over fences. But he was held on more than one occasion in handicaps in the mid 130s. It's entirely plausible his game does go to new levels over fences, but I still think he can be a bit free going. He does think about things, and this would be a much sterner test compared to the Stratford upon Avon one, which was on a much sounder surface. So yeah, a lot of word salad to say. I think the favourite wins. I actually think she could be a very serious candidate to at least give the likes of Kopek de Boards et al. Something to think about later on in the season.
Yeah, well, I remember them saying that you always needed a horse that got 2.5 miles to win the Arkle, so maybe this mare could be the answer. Gary, are you another one in the July Flower camp?
Yeah, big time. Love this mare. That was some performance of offences on her debut at Limerick. Like, she just pinged everything. When she was asked for a big one, she came up, and just no negatives to take from her, really. Like, they changed the tactics on her. They were dropping her in last year and stuff like that, so more aggressive tactics. I think this is a point and shoot job. Just bop her out in front, fire at every fence, and they won't see what way she's gone. And I think she'll put a proper marker down for the rest of the season. She's definitely a mare to follow for the rest of the year. So really strong on her. Yeah, can't see her getting beat here.
Pat, are you going to make it 3 out of 3 for July Flower? 2 very confident predictions from the guys so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Make that 3 from 3 for the July Flower. She was very good. And, if you're not familiar with the name and what she's done, she used to run in Mares Hurdles last year, and she was only 8-1 to beat Lossiemouth at the festival in the Mares Hurdles. So that's the kind of company she keeps. Be Aware, he may well be a better chaser than he was hurdler, but his hurdle form doesn't stack up that well. Burdett Road, second in the champion hurdle. It reads ever so well, doesn't it? But if you watch the race, you wouldn't be overly thrilled at that kind of performance. I'm with the fellas there. To jump round Cheltenham on your chase debut is a big ask, particularly on testing ground. So maybe that rules out Burdett Roads, Fencel and Brentford Hope. Be Aware, Burdett Road, they've got to give July Flower £7. It just seems unlikely to me. And July Flower, of course, has got that recent win. Henry de Bromhead would have targeted this race. So you kind of end up with her, don't you? And I'd expect her to win, really, granted a clear run.
So that's 3 votes for July Flower in the Arkle trial. We'll move on to the feature race. The feature race of the card, the Paddy Power Gold Cup at 2:20. The trip is 2.5 miles. 15 runners at present. So Bet365 going 4 places each way at the moment instead of the 3. Of course, if the field does cut up, you probably only get 3 places. That's the same for the position payout. But we'll see how many actually come to post after the forecast rain. We've got last year's winner, Il Ridotto, bidding for a repeat. Paul Nicholls seeking a hat-trick after Stage Star won in 2023. Il Ridotto carried 9.13 to success last year. 11.8 is his weight this time. He is among the market leaders, but the 4-1 favourite is Jaguar in the JP Green and Gold, trained by Oliver Greenall and Josh Guerrero. Sam Thomas's Vincenzo in the Dye Walters Silks is next best at 4-1. Pat, this is usually a pretty big betting heat. Who's been the money horse at Bet365 Towers, and who do you like for this one?
Well, when the weights first came out, Rory, Jaguar and Il Ridotto were very easy to find at the top of the market. Of course, Il Ridotto, I think he's just a pound higher than he was a year ago. He's clearly had this race on his radar. Jaguar was that horse with a great deal of potential. The handicapper was watching him run as well, so he's no gimme in terms of a handicap mark. But the rain does, or hopefully the rain from a bookmaking point at least, will make it more complex, because Jaguar now, for a stint, has to shoulder 12 stone. We had Matata in the weights originally, but he runs on the Friday, so the weights went up 8 or 9 pounds. So Jaguar, as promising as he is, he's as a 6-year-old, he's got a lump around 12 stone. So from a bookmaking point of view, you could look at him thinking that makes it a harder task for him. So Vincenzo has been the one since the final decks came out. Sam Thomas is a very good trainer. Dylan Johnston takes an excellent £3 off. He has been the big market mover. And again, he's a little bit unexposed at this trip. He was mostly over 2 miles, but his 2.5 mile form at this trip reads very well. He's the one that the public have got with. And I could see if the rain comes down, most bookmakers will look at Jaguar and think he's going to be vulnerable with 12 stone. So it's that type of a race. You've got a Gavin Cromwell, the company sergeant. He needs to brush up his jumping. And coming up easy is an interesting runner for Henry de Bromhead. He's won his last 3, but he won off 116, 125, 132, now 142. So he's going up in chunks. So it's a fascinating race. But I think the market is pointing towards Vincenzo, principally because of the adverse weather expected.
And do you have a fancy in the race, Pat?
I do think Vincenzo. I think Sam Thomas is an excellent trainer. He's amongst the winners, and they are fresh and well first time up with this yard. So lack of a recent run wouldn't be a barrier to me. And I say he's just a little bit unexposed at this trip, and maybe he'll be even better this season. So he's bound to win one of these races this season, I feel. So I'm gonna keep with him.
Ed, I saw you nodding your head there about Vincenzo. Is he your idea of the winner?
He's not, but I was nodding it in appreciation of everything Pat was saying in terms of flagging up the Sam Thomas yard in unbelievable form. They've had 9 runners in November, 5 have won. I think 3 others have been placed. So 55% strike rate for that yard. And he seems to be this incredible knack of getting horses fit first time out, coming back off huge layoffs. That doesn't seem to be a problem. So, yeah, this is a real muddling affair, this, because I hate that phrase, a substandard renewal, because everything has to be taken in context of the year it's in, but it is a substandard renewal. There's no exotic dancer, Imperial Commander in here. There's not a long run running off top weight. We had Protectorat, didn't we, 2 or 3 years ago? Yeah. This is much more of your traditional handicap. If there is a horse who could go on to springboard into kind of open company, Jaguar is the one. I mean, he's won 4 of his 5 starts over fences. He was rated 118 this time last year. He improved £30 throughout the season. He is only 6. And converse to logic, where 8 of the last 9 winners of this have had a prep run, Jaguar does have a scintillating record first time out. So, yeah, he ticks a lot of boxes in the sense of if he was ended up in a Ryanair chase as an 8-1 poke in 5 months' time, you're not falling off your chair in amazement. But, said all that, skinny enough, 12 stone, could be real heavy ground, and I don't think he's, how should we say, I don't think he's a brilliant jumper. I think he gets from A to B. He doesn't excel from A to B. This is going to be another sterner test again. So I'm looking elsewhere. I think the ground's going to probably really go against Il Ridotto. For all that, he'll be absolutely cherry ripe for this. There's something in the waters in Ireland at the moment with trainers who are coming out and openly admitting that they've been making a mess of plans with horses, and I love it. I like this honesty. Paul Nolan trains Conyers Hill. I think this is a fascinating sort. Listening to Paul Nolan interview saying, thinks perhaps he's had this horse all wrong. He thought because he's such a strong traveller, he's an out-and-out 2-miler. But they ran him in the Grand Annual. He was taken off his feet, and he looked as though he was going to drop out the back of the television at one point. But to his credit, For the first time, he found something off the bridle and he came up the hill. He was finished 6th of 20. He was never in chance of winning it. But he did. There was a bit of a light bulb moment there. The penny dropped and he galloped all the way to the line. Now, listening to Paul Nolan going, well, hang on a minute. Maybe I've had a 2.5 miler or a stay, or I've been running over the wrong trip. So they stepped him up to 2-3 last time out for his, I presume, prep run for this at Limerick. And he ran all the way to the line and finished in second. I think he's just the type who will absolutely tank into this. Coming down the hill to 2 out. And then, look, it will be in the lap of the gods because he will officially go into kind of unknown territory stamina-wise over fences, and you won't know until you try. But the ground in itself won't be a problem. Paul Nolan's got a very good record with getting horses to click in some of these big events here at Cheltenham. And I think he's a strong traveller. 2.5 could easily be on his radar now. He's a solid jumper. And in a race, so I said, this is more of a traditional handicap rather than we've got 3 or 4 potential Grade 1 horses. Which one comes out on top? I think Conyers Hill is a very solid each way play. Ground won't be a problem. Travels well, jumps well towards the bottom of the weights, and I'm quite keen on his chances. It's a muddling affair. Those at the top have just got problems with them where I wouldn't want to take a short enough price personally.
So strong case for Conyers Hill there from Ed. Gary, what's your view on this one?
I think Irish Eyes would be smiling, but with a different horse. I'm going to go the Company Sergeant here. I just like his profile for the race. He is becoming a bit of a cliff horse for me, so I will put that disclaimer out. But like last time out at the Kerry National, he just didn't stay. He ran a fair race in 6, but the stamina was on empty the last half mile. So this dropping back to this trip, I think this is his ideal trip. Galway Plate run, he just got messed about at the start and he got left a bit, so just scratched that. And his form ties him with Jaguar last year, and the Play Handicap travelled extremely well into that race. Like he had a bit more to give, he just ran into one. He gets a £5 swing here. I know Jaguar, his first time out record is really good, but this fella has a bit of fitness on his side as well. I think the price discrepancy is a bit too big between the two based on that form. Double figure price, I think he just represents a bit of value, so he'll do for me.
There we go. Well, it's not often I'll express a view on this show, but I'm looking at bad ground this time of year. Venetia Williams usually isn't too far away, and I backed Hunter Legend yesterday at 25s, and I think he's about 14s now. I mean, all his forms on testing ground. He looks to be going in the right direction. He'll be up with the pace. Should get up the hill okay. So I'm hoping he gives me a run for my money. But 4 different picks there for the Paddy Power Gold Cup, the highlight of Saturday's card. We're moving on to the 255. That's the From the Horse's Mouth podcast handicap hurdle over 3 miles, 10 runners and a strong favourite in Supremely West, who made his debut for Dan Skelton at Cheltenham a few weeks back, beaten in third, 5 1/4 lengths behind Marsh Shantu. He's 15-8. With Ollie Murphy's long draw next best at 9-2. We'll start with you, Gary. Have you got a view on this race?
Yeah, it's tricky enough. The Fav now I thought was very short for how competitive it is. I'm probably going to just have a few bob on his stable companion, Prince Altar. I think I like the look of him here. Came out from Philip Rockwell and he scored on debut for the Yards in Newton Abbey. And then I thought he ran a decent race from 6th of a course and distance last month. He was banged there and he just made a bad mistake, 3 out. So I just took the stuffing out and flattened him out up the hill. Tristan Durrell, he's taken £3 off his back. I think he is well worth his claim. And he just looks nicely handicapped on his rating. I think there's a bit more scope there and there's a double figure price. I just think he represents a bit of value, but I wouldn't be going too mad on the race in this type of ground. But he'll have a few bob on with me anyway.
Yeah. Pat, what's your view on this one? Favourite a bit short, perhaps?
At first glance, when I got the prices, I thought, oh, that looks a bit skinny to me for a horse that, he was handily beaten at Cheltenham. But the fact remains, he's got winning form on heavy ground. It was a good run. It is the Skelton. So it's been priced up really, fellas, on we know we're going to lay it, so let's put it in as short as we can. Now, from a betting point of view, it certainly passed me by. The fourth horse, when he was third, of course, was Long Draw. I remember, I think Sean Bones said after the race that the race didn't pan out the way he'd have liked it to. I think if you watch the race back, he went wide all the way round, and I think he gave up a lot more ground than he had intended. The conundrum, really, they should be closer together, the front two in the market, but Supremely West has got winning form on heavy ground. Long Draw hasn't gone on it. Now, I don't know if that's deliberate or it's just happened to be that way, and it's not an issue. I think he was second in a point-to-point on heavy. Maybe that's inconclusive, but I think if you told me Long Draw will be okay on the ground, I'd certainly rather back him at 9-2 than the favourite at 15-8, 2-1 or more. That said, I'm looking down the rest of the card. They don't really jump out, do they? So I think it's one or t'other, and I should be a bit more adventurous than that. But if you tell me Long Draw will go on the ground, I'll pick him.
Ed, are you going to live up to your long shot Ted moniker on this one?
Slightly. I do agree to a large extent in the sense of I actually think that the top weights here are the ones to concentrate on. Supremely West, it's the mud form, isn't it? And plus, going back to that run at Cheltenham, Dan Skelton, I think actually said on a live broadcast, this horse massively needs the run. He's had a wind operation. I think he went off 16-1. And a lot of Dan Skelton's hurdlers, a lot of horses who he's had reappearing have been needing a run and taking a big step forward for their seasonal reappearance. And I think, Long Draw's issue is the ground. That is the big unknown. He thrives on a proper sound surface. Supremely West has that tick in the box, if you like. So, out of those two, I think Supremely West is the right favourite. I'm going to go each way with probably the forgotten horse in here, who is the top weight. Now, I know he's got a lump 12 stone around, but let's not forget Gal Road has won a Cleve hurdle on soft ground. He has a horse with a touch of class here. He won't mind the ground. He definitely stays. He's got Cheltenham form aplenty. There's a lot of boxes ticked for a horse. As I say, he ran in this race, obviously, behind at October meeting, behind Long Draw. And Supremely West. Well, I think Sound Twister Davis probably be the first to admit he went off a little bit quick. He was really lit up. He was fresh. It was his first run of the season. And he, to his credit, still coming to 3 out. He was leading and he turned into home straight and he weakened and went out. But I was looking through Gal Road's CV and you go back in the past. He traditionally is a horse who does step forward for his seasonal reappearance. He did it in 2021. He was stuffed at Chepstow. Then he came to this meeting and absolutely hacked up. I was going back through 2022. He was beaten 20 lengths at Perth. He then went forward to Ascot and absolutely hacked up. So he's a horse who's got a bit of previous of needing that ring rust removal job and then taking a step forward. Look, he's a Grade 2 winner over course of distance who enjoys soft ground. Whether he enjoys the 12 stone innate test of it against a few younger legs, who knows? But I just find it a little bit muddling at the top. I agree with Pat. Long Draw, if you knew the ground was there, you wouldn't be getting the price you are, right? But so Gal Road each way, and I think one of the big two will probably bomb out.
Okay, so I think that's 3 different selections for the handicap hurdle at 255. We've got one more race on the Saturday. This is an intermediate handicap hurdle at 330. 13 will hopefully line up for this contest over 2 miles and 5 furlongs. David Pipe's Duranson in the colours of Brocade Racing, famously sported by Native River all those years ago in the Cheltenham Gold Cup. He is the 3-1 favourite. Dan Skelton's Royal Infantry is 9-2, along with French Ship, trained by Philip Hobbs and Johnson White. Ed, this one looks competitive. What do you reckon?
It does. Duranson lightly raced, unexposed, stepping up to 2-5. I wasn't sure whether the overall profile of his form entitles him to be rated 1-3-2. The Newbury win against Lario, that form has worked out abysmally. I think there have been 13 horses have run 13 times since, and they've all been beaten. And so I'm not sure his collateral form is that good. For all that, he is unexposed and could be ahead of his mark by the nature of being unexposed. I was tentatively with French Ship. I just was really taken with the way in which Philip Hobbs' charge got the job done at Cheltenham in the October meeting. It was a really nice performance. He was unlucky in the Silver Trophy at Chepstow. I think he would have been probably second at worst on that occasion. He kind of jumped the hurdle, didn't he? And then seemed to slip and trip. It was all a bit like he got his shoelaces tied. He was travelling ominously well at 3 out. And then, of course, he managed to right the wrong by winning at Cheltenham last month. So I think he could easily be better than 136. And I think the overall, you look through his body of form, for him to be rated 136, I think is potentially lenient, whereas I'm not sure there are others in here who perhaps deserve their rating, shall we say. And so you just look at all of Friendship's form from last season, it all stacks up. I mean, Let It Rain's come out and bolt up a couple of times. Was second to Palacio. We saw that horse take the field apart at Chepstow last week, and of course finished fourth to the New Lion in the Challow Hurdle. That horse went on to win Greatwood at Cheltenham Festival, so all his form is stacking up. He's got course form. I wouldn't worry about the rain so much for him. He won in proper soft ground. I think he was at Taunton off the top of my head last year, so he seems versatile in regards to ground requirements. So yeah, Friendship will be the play, but if the ground does get really deep by 3:30, of course that will bring an element of chance into it more than ever.
Gary, what are you thinking for this race?
Yeah, tricky enough one again. Like the one I like to look of, probably on the same lines of thinking as the 365 traders, because they're a lot shorter in the market than anyone else. Holloway Queen at 15-2 with 365. There's double figures elsewhere for Nikki and Nico. She just won her first two for the stable, and probably next two races were very disappointing, and she just didn't jump at all. And so I'm willing to forgive that. Coming from this stable, they probably would have been ironing out these kinks over the summer. I think there's a bit of juice in our current mark, and like at a double figure price, I think she's worth chancing in a race like this.
Yeah, just looking, the second of those wins was in heavy ground at Haydock, and that's as probably as testing as it gets. So she'll certainly won't mind conditions on Saturday. Pat, are you thinking the same with Bet 365, shorter about Holloway Queen?
Yeah, the thing with Holloway Queen, when you see a Nicky Henderson horse, you tend to think they're good ground horses around Kempton and Newbury, don't you? But when she won at Haydock last December, Nico got off, and she's quoted in the Racing Post saying she loves this heavy ground. And I don't know if you can say that often about a Nicky Henderson horse. So she won first time out last year. Best fresh, likes the ground. You know, the others in front of her in the market have to give her weight. She's only got 11 stone 3. Heavy ground. Nikki, you're back in a Nicky Henderson horse, so she's going to be probably ready first time out and winning form on the ground. So should be my pick on the ones that head in the market, with the usual asterisk behind Hamzian of Tony Martin, with the excellent Daniel King aboard. I mean, he's had 2 recent flat races, which he's been well beaten in them both, but he is a course and distance winner. And again, you ask all the traders, probably from all the offices, and they all say, oh, Tony Martin, oh, we'll be careful of that one. So if that one emerges as a positive in the market come 3:27, let's say, on Saturday, then be well worth having a consideration at least. Put it that way.
Yeah, last year's winner.
Yeah, definitely. So a lot of positive words for Holloway Queen there in the intermediate handicap hurdle at Cheltenham. That's it for Saturday. We'll look ahead to Sunday. The feature is the Greatwood Hurdle, over 2.5 miles, a furlong. Currently 24 horses in the betting, although I'm sure plenty will be withdrawn ahead of Friday's declarations. Last year's winner, Burdett Road, as we've discussed earlier, has gone chasing. Nicky Henderson's 2023 winner, Iberico Lord, is back for another crack. He's 12-1. But the market is headed by Joe Tizard's Alexi, again in the colours of Brocade Racing, and Celtic Dino for Sam Thomas and Di Walters. They are the 11-2 joint favourites. Gary, this field will surely cut up, but anything in there tempting you to have an early dart?
Yeah, I've got involved in one now, and I'm going near the bottom of the weights. I'm going to go with Little Lupe. She looks way too big a price. I really like the way she won over course and distance last month. Made a big move turning in, and then she just blew it away like she was being chased by the taxman up the hill. Still had plenty left. I was surprised she only got £6 at the end. For that, it looks very lenient to me. She's going to be carrying 10 stone. The ground's going to be atrocious, so that's going to help a lot. I just think she's still progressing, and the handicap hasn't caught up with her yet. So at the price she is, I'll take a chance on her.
Yeah, and trained by Fergal O'Brien, who of course is local to Cheltenham. Ed, what are you thinking for the Greatwood?
I'm thinking with your initial on your welcoming rhetoric, Rory, and you said the effect of the rain on and potential non-runners. I think this is the race that could get absolutely stealth bombed here. I think we could lose loads of the protagonists. Sam Thomas has already said Celtic Dino, last thing he wants is rain. Alexi, I actually interviewed Joe Tizard, said, look, he's probably versatile ground-wise, but does want proper spring ground. Well, that's kind of 2 of your top 3 gone already. I think this could be the race that really falls apart, unfortunately. I think you mentioned last year's winner. I'm going back to the 2 years ago winner. You said Iberico Lord, another Nicky Henderson horse. I don't know what's going on at the moment. Another Henderson horse who wants a swamp. This horse is very happy on deep ground. I mean, it was soft ground 2 years ago, and the horse powered up the hill. Of course, won that big pot at Newbury. The Betfair Hurdle in an absolute mud bath when beating Lodou Sud and Doddy the Great. Of course, that form probably couldn't have worked out much better. Yes, everything kind of went a bit west. I took a crashing fall over fences after going one on Chase debut and then fell at Ascot, and that just seemed to knock a lot of the confidence out of the horse for the rest of the season. But one first time out in 2023, or off the back of a 96-day break. One after 204-day break to win this race 2 years ago, and one first time out last season after 258-day break. So it seems a kind of layman's terms formula of heavy ground first time out really does work. And for a horse who's won the race before, admittedly now off 139, so it's £13 higher, but is only £5 higher than when winning that big pot at Newbury when beating Lodou Sud and Doddy the Great. I would not be shocked if Iberico Law went off favourite, because I generally do think, Rory, this race could really fall apart. Unlike a lot of the big races priced up over the course of the weekend, the good ground dependent horses are very much at the top of the market, and so yeah, I expect this will have a totally different complexion by 3:30 on Sunday afternoon.
So, Pat, have the punters been giving us any clues as to what might run and what might not?
Well, anti-post-wise, Rory, Mirabad having his first run for Dan Skelton was favourite, but I mean, he was 14-1. He's now round about one of the market leaders, round about 7-1. But I'm not maybe so sure about him on the ground. So I've ended up with another Fergal O'Brien runner, which is Serious Challenge. And every time I watch this fella run, I always think he wants further. So that's not exactly a negative this time around. He's got form on soft ground over 2 miles. He's run and won over 2.5. He's already jockeyed up with Jonathan Burke. As things stand at the moment, only got 10 stone 11. So, you can. I would have a completely different complexion on the race if it was normal, good to soft ground. I actually think Alexi is a real talented horse. But if it's talking about soft ground, Sunday, 2.5 miles, I'll go for Serious Challenge and Fergal O'Brien.
Yeah, so a lot of love for the Fergal O'Brien stable in the Greatwood. Should say Lelupa is also jocked up already with Tom Brelton on board. So that might be a hint in itself. So that's it for our 5 races at Cheltenham this weekend, all of course on ITV. Time to open this up to other action in Britain and Ireland, or you can stick to one at Cheltenham. We'll start with Pat. You had a winner last week with Sir Carnegie up at Kelso. What's your nap this weekend?
Yeah, well, I'm off to Wetherby for the 2:00 race. I've gone to Wetherby because I think, I know what the ground's going to be.
Yeah.
And the horse I like here is Meet Me by the Sea, owned by J.P. McManus, trained by Ben Pauling, and ridden by Callum Pritchard, claiming 5, who's ridden this horse to victory and other races in the past. So he gets on very well with the horse. This is a horse, he ran well in novice hurdles last year. And he ran at Sandown on the weekend before the Cheltenham Festival, and everyone was kind of thinking, this will be the one to pay for the expenses for the week. And he ran okay, finished 3rd, but it scoped badly after the race. So maybe would have won, with a clean bill of health, go straight over fences. It's got a marker 133. I don't think that's unreasonable. So 2:00 at Wetherby, Meet Me by the Sea, please.
Meet Me by the Sea for a trainer who's not averse to winning this sort of contest in Ben Pauling. So that's a nice one from Wetherby on Saturday. Over to you, Ed. What's your nap of the weekend?
Oh, the nap of the weekend is going to be Conyers Hill. We've already discussed in the Paddy Power Gold Cup, but in terms of one we haven't mentioned, be remiss of me, is on the Saturday. So I'm just getting my timings up here. In the 110, Heracles Westwood. I think it's a very solid each-way player for the Warren Greatrex team. Horse is a dour stayer. Obviously, you're gonna need that on Saturday. I think there could be a lot more improvement to come from him off a mark of 126. With the yard, had a bit of a barren spell. I've been amongst the winners over the last week or so. So, Conyers Hill, my main fancy. Berrico Lord, the next best. And the final leg, I suppose, will be greedy now. Ted Strixie will be Heracles Westwood. I think that horse will stay up the hill when others have cried enough.
Yeah, that's the Amateur Jockeys Handicap Chase at Cheltenham on Saturday. Gary, are you sticking to Cheltenham or are you going away for your nap of the weekend?
No, we'll stick to Cheltenham, Rory. I'm going for the last race on the card. We're going to be sending the Irish home happy. This one is going to romp home in the bumper. We're going to go with Bud Fox. He came with a big reputation. He won a Bell Harbour Point in February, and then he rocked up to the Punchestown Festival and absolutely hosed up. He just looked an absolute weapon. They're keeping him in bumpers this season, which is very interesting, and it won't be any surprise to see him rock back up here in March towards the head of the betting and probably take the bumper out in March as well. Bud Fox wins as he likes Sunday. That is all.
There you go. Bud Fox in the lucky last at Cheltenham on Sunday. And that's already a champion bumper tip, is it not, Gary?
It is. If you can sort out a little double price add it to the site, just fill your boots on it, boys.
Okay, I'll put that in the file.
There we go. Well, a very confident finish to the show. That's it for this week's Race Hour podcast in association with Bet365, the home of the position payout. My thanks to Ed Quigley, Gary Connolly and Pat Cooney. I've been Rory Jiwani. Thanks for your company. Good luck with your bets and see you again next week.
Relentless, remorseless, and pounded Cordan Star into submission.